There is nothing worse than untapped potentials. If you know that you're made for more, this is the place. I know that every successful person I've ever met has one thing in common. They do not let themselves fall victim to their circumstances. They figure out a way to rise above it. So join me on this journey where I help you to be better, do better, and have better in life and in business. If you're feeling stuck and you're needing some practical tools, some hope to get you to that better life, this is definitely the place for you. Everyone, welcome to the Unstuck Podcast. And I am so excited to take you guys on a journey today with my new friend, Megan Cooper. You guys, as you know, I'm lachellewieme, and I am here to help you get unstuck in life and in business. We're all about being better, doing better, and having better in life and our business. And Megan, you are such an amazing person to have this conversation with because you have inspired me, my dear friend. So you are a former nurse, you have two littles, and you are now a business owner. And I just love your story so much, Megan. So welcome to the Unstuck Podcast.
Thank you so much, Lachelle. Thank you for having me. And I completely agree. I've been so inspired by you and your journey. And I'm so grateful that we have met in the way that we have and that we're able to collaborate on this.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, girl. So I want you to do a better job than me. And I want you to kind of like describe where you are in the world today and how are you serving people? How are you helping people? What does the Megan of today look like right now?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, I love that. What does the Megan of today look like? She is so happy and just thrilled to be like out serving the world and helping people do great things. And specifically what I do is I am a direct sales success coach, a strategy coach, and I help direct sellers and network marketers show up on social media and other ways online in a non-salesy, non-spammy sort of way that naturally attracts prospects to them to build their business rather than them reaching out to people sort of, bugging them to join their business. And it is just amazing. I mean, I just get to work with the most amazing women and help them on this journey of learning a new way and a better way of running their businesses. And every day I just show up, and honestly, I'm new to it all. I'm new to this year, and it's still like sometimes I have to pinch myself. Like, is this really my life? Really? I mean, it sounds cliche almost, but it's like, this is amazing that I'm able to do this. So I'm just so grateful.
So you had a completely different life like a year ago. So tell us a little bit about that transition that led you to this point, because I think that it's really fascinating. I think that we all can learn so much from your experience and your journey.
100%. Yes. Oh my gosh. Literally a year ago, I had like no idea really where I wanted to go, but I knew that I felt like this wasn't quite right. I have little children, like you mentioned. I was working as a nurse at the hospital, and I was working, the weekends and the holidays and the odd hours, and I was missing things going on in my kids' lives. And I just knew, like, I was feeling this calling or this something within me that was saying, like, you're meant for more. You're meant to do something else. Simultaneously, I was, running my own direct sales business as a side hustle. And I really, really was enjoying that. And I liked that I was able to stay home and work on that. I mean, I was also working as the nurse, but I decided to invest. Yeah. So I decided to invest in myself in a coaching program to learn pretty much what I teach now, which is to grow my business in a really authentic, like organic sort of way online. And I had really great success with that program. I grew my team by 900% in 3 months. And the person who I took that program with, I watched her and what she was doing online with her, having her own business. not just with direct sales, but actually having this business of coaching others. And I was like in total awe of what she was doing. And was like, I don't know, like I need to do something like this. And pretty much as soon as I thought that, she began offering a program that I could learn to do just that. I'm like, yep, that's 100% me. So I just jumped in and was like, okay, let's learn to do this. Shortly thereafter, I quit my job as a nurse, and it was way earlier than expected, or I probably, quote unquote, should have.
Yeah.
It was not comfortable at all to do that. But I was like, I'm ready to be done, and I'm ready to take a new turn, a new path. And so it's been a journey. It's been amazing.
That's really interesting, Megan, because, and I hope that I don't like mess up your flow here, but I just got to say this, as we're recording this today, my friends that I work with at the hospital, because as you know, I do anesthesia here in Minnesota and you're in Wisconsin. So it's like, we're kind of like neighbors, right? Mm-hmm. But there are so many of my friends that are at this point in their career where they're having to choose whether or not they want to stay in their positions, or they want to kind of stand behind some values that they carry that is in conflict with their career right now. And they're literally having to decide if they want to step away from their career that they had no intention of stepping away from because of this decision. And so speak to that person right now who's like, I'm too scared to do something different, because I mean, it's scary. Nurses make a good living.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh my gosh. This was seriously such a scary decision. It really was. I have been on a journey of sort of self-discovery and personal development since becoming a mom 5 years ago.
Yeah.
In a lot of different ways, and I think we might touch on that here later. But I have just been more and more focused internally on what I know to be true and right, and really paying attention and listening to what that is, and just having the courage, not the confidence. Like, absolutely, I was not confident stepping out saying like, I'm just going to quit my job here. And like,
that is such
do this other thing.
Important distinction, girl. Like, there's a difference between confidence, and you don't always have the confidence. That's such a brilliant, just insight into this journey for sure.
100%. Yes, exactly. And that's what it is. And that's what I've realized over and over again. It's like, all that it takes is just the courage to take that step. Yeah. And then you've got the momentum going already, and then you build the confidence as you go, of course. So
you alluded to a journey, and I think that is important for us to go back to that, because I'm guessing that the journey that you've been on has been a part of how you were able to gain the courage to be able to step out in faith right now. So I want you to kind of take us down that path and let us kind of walk alongside of you as you go through where you were to where you are now.
Absolutely. Yes. And I'm so excited to share this. And I have to tell you, this is the most public I've ever shared this story before. So this is just another example of me just stepping with courage instead of confidence, because I can definitely say that when I wouldn't have done this a couple of years ago. So,
well, thanks for trusting us in our community for sure.
Absolutely. So, when I first became a mom, when I first became pregnant, and I was deciding on my birth and what I wanted that to look like, and I was trying to figure out like what kind of mom am I going to be and all the different things.
Yeah.
I decided to. Well, I had always actually been interested in having a home birth, but I was nervous about that, and was like, I don't think I can do that my first time around. I'm going to go to the hospital, but I'm going to try for, an unmedicated vaginal birth is my goal.
Yeah.
And my birth experience was very traumatic. And very difficult, because it did not go the way I wanted, of course, at all. But not only that, I mean, sometimes things go certain ways reasons that are beyond our control, of course.
Right.
But I didn't feel like I didn't feel like I had a voice. Like, it was very disempowering. I didn't feel like anyone was listening to me, or my husband. And it felt very much like I was in this paternalistic sort of environment where being told, like, this is what we need to do, and this is what we need to do now, and you have no choice. Here we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I ended up having a cesarean section, a cesarean birth, which was exactly the opposite of what I wanted. And I was not even awake for it, unfortunately, because they needed to act quick. So I met my daughter 2 hours after she was born. And that moment was magical. But quickly thereafter, I was like, no, like this, I want to redo. Like, this was not the birth that I wanted, and there was a hard time after that too, because everyone, it felt like, was telling me, well, at least she's happy and healthy and everything.
Yeah.
Which is true.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that's
right.
the most important thing.
Right.
But the mother's mental health and emotional health is also very important. So just a quick shout out to anyone who's been through that. And you
were grieving the loss of that experience, right? Exactly. And as an anesthesia provider, I know how hard we try to keep the patient awake for that experience so I'm like, I can only imagine how scary that whole situation was, because it's very rare that it leads down that path. And so, girl, I'm so sorry that happened to you. And I'm validating it for you right now. So yeah.
Yes. Thank you. So right away, as soon as my daughter was born, we knew we didn't want to have another child for a little while. Of course, I wasn't going to get pregnant immediately, but right away I started researching and planning to have a VBAC, a vaginal birth after cesarean. I knew for sure I wanted that. Mm-hmm. And I was pretty sure that I was going to want to do a home birth. And so I put a lot of time and effort into researching. I interviewed lots of people before we ended up going down that route.
Yeah.
18 months after my first daughter was born, I got pregnant. And then it was like, okay, now I actually have to decide to have a home birth. Like, I knew the VBAC part for sure. Like, that was very solid in my mind. But there's so many fears that come around a home birth. Like, there's a lot of unknowns about it. There's a lot of misinformation and misconceptions that are passed around too.
Right.
So, that was hard.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, like, just as somebody from the medical profession, you're a nurse. So I love that we get to talk about this, but like, that the VBAC in general is just a higher risk procedure because of the risk for bleeding and hemorrhage, because you've already had this incision through your uterus. Right. And so I think that it's amazing that you were able to stay convicted with like that experience. And so this just tells me like how much courage you have, Megan, because just alone having the conviction to say, no, I want to have a vaginal birth after I've had a C-section is courageous enough on its own. And then for you to say, nope, and I want to be home. Like that takes a lot of conviction. So that's amazing, girl. Keep talking about that.
Thank you so much. I have goosebumps because through that 9 months, I mean, I cannot tell you the number of countless conversations I had with my husband and with my midwives, who I was getting care through, like, is this the right decision? Like, maybe we shouldn't do this, it's just back and forth. But I just kept going inward to the feeling that I had, and just the inner knowing that was like, no, this is what I'm supposed to do. I just could feel it. And I just said, I just need to trust this. Like, and because I'm very practical as well, and a nurse background, I had all the things in place. Like, I had done the research, I had my backup plans, like, how will I get to the hospital? What will happen if things don't go the right way? All of that too. But then the day came and I went into labor, and I had two midwives, and I also had a birth photographer because I wanted to capture these moments.
Yeah.
And she was actually a former midwife herself, which was
Wow.
really neat. And I
Yeah.
also had a doula. So I was just, and my husband was there, of course, but I was just surrounded by women
Mhm.
who 100% innately believed in me and my ability to do this, even when I was wavering myself through the process. Like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like, can I do this? Like, I mean, forget the VBAC part. I'm like, I don't even know. Can I have a vaginal birth like without medication?
Yeah.
Like,
No,
I don't know. I mean,
I think that this
you
is so
know,
interesting because I'm taking this as almost like a parable, right? For life in the sense that, even though this is something that was innate within you, it was an inner knowing, and you had this strong conviction, you still had doubts, you still had insecurities, you still
Mhm.
question yourself, you still had fear, right?
Mhm.
And so I think that anytime we're focusing on a next transition or a scary thing in our lives, I just want you guys all to hear this. Like, it's normal for you to have some wavering confidence and some just moments in your life where you wonder, am I hearing my gut right? But the
Mhm.
other thing that Megan did, you guys, is that she surrounded herself. Number one, she did the research. So you can't always go into faith blindly, right? You have to do the
Mhm.
homework a little bit too. And number two is she surrounded herself with the right people. And so when we take risks, so when we go out into that step of faith, doing the research ahead of time and having, your ducks in a row, being able to surround yourself with the right people who are going to tell you what you want to hear, but also what you need to hear, and are going to be there as a backbone for you. And Megan, I can't wait to hear the rest of your story and kind of how this transitioned to where you are now in a moment, you guys. So I'm going to take a quick break, and I want to tell you all about what I am most excited in the world about right now, which is really helping you get your life back. Megan is a mama. She's working to build this amazing life for her girls that she fought so hard to bring into this world, right? And I know that Megan doesn't want to have to sacrifice all of her time on her dream and her vision. She wants to have that time with her kids. And that was me too. So I'm going to tell you all about a course that I have developed just for people like us that need to get time back so they can do all of the amazing things, and basically so we can have it all. So we'll see you guys in just a second. Hey, lachellewieme here, and I gotta ask you, are you feeling like you're always on your freaking phone and you're trying to run your business, your family's complaining about you always being on your phone, you feel like you're winging it constantly, and all you want to do is have a strategy that lets you be 100% authentic, and you are literally attracting the right people to you? Oh my goodness, that was me too. And I had to figure out a system that would make that work. And I totally nailed it. I have a program all designed to help you do that too, including a chance to spend the entire day with me so I can help you write copy that attracts people, and you will literally be done for an entire year. If that sounds like it's something that you need, we totally need to talk. Go ahead and click this link and let's get started. Okay, Megan, girlfriend, I want you to kind of keep going. I want you to continue to tell us your story and give us all of the inspiration, the insight, the lessons that you took from your experience and how you can help us transform our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, everything that you said before the break was just so true. And exactly the steps I sort of have pulled from that whole scenario myself, and has actually helped me with this next really big, scary
Yeah,
thing that I did that we
yeah.
already talked about, which was quitting my job and starting my own business. But yeah, exactly. Doing the research and then having the support around you is so, so, so incredibly important.
Yeah.
Um, and to hear, like you said, the things that you want to hear, but also the things that you need to hear. And, you know, back to that night that my second daughter was born, um, I, I, I did end up having a home birth. I gave birth to her on my bed with my husband and these women. And I mean, I can't even, it was so incredible. And I did it. My body did it. And like, I knew, it's like, I knew that I could do this. Like, I knew I could, and I did. And it was the most empowering thing I've ever done in my life. And I go back to that moment every time now that I am thinking about, fearful about something or a decision that I want to make, or, I find myself a lot of times going in, now that I'm a mom, especially,
Yeah.
I'm making a lot of decisions where they maybe aren't like the most popular decision. And so it's hard sometimes to make those decisions, but I go back to that empowerment of knowing like, okay, but I've done it before. When I have that knowing, and I've done the research, I surround myself, and I can do it, and I can get through it. I go back to that moment a lot. So it was incredible.
Well, that's amazing. And I think that one of the things that has helped me is when I'm faced with something big and scary, and it feels like a Goliath, right? Like it feels like it's like a mountain that is not something that I can climb. What really helps me is going back to the experiences that I've had in my life that I've actually been able to conquer things, that I've been able to step up in courage and accomplish things. And I can only imagine that your experience and knowing that you were able to pull that off successfully, beautifully, impactfully, and prove to yourself, your body, all of the doubters that it was possible, right? And how amazing that feels, so that when you're facing something else that's scary, you can draw back into that and say, hey, remember when you did that really scary thing? Like, you got this, right?
Right. Exactly.
And so, Megan, when did you decide that you wanted something more than, like, I'm just curious, because it's always interesting to find out people's journeys as far as when you're in a career that you had to go to school for, and it's a good career. At what point did you decide that you're like, okay, there's something else? Because you said that you're in direct sales. So what made you decide to start that journey? I'm just curious.
Yeah, that's a great question. I have always, my entire life, been really intrigued by the idea of being an entrepreneur. And always, from when I was a kid, forever, I've been like, what kind of business could I have? What could I do? But I'm also very typically, until I became a mom, this is how I operated, was that I'm very sort of straight-laced, like follow the guide A to Z, like do what you're supposed to, go to college, to go get the job, like whatever.
Yeah.
And so I would always daydream about it, but never really gave it any real weight.
Yeah.
And so I actually just happened right into direct sales. A friend of mine, she started a new business in direct sales, and she invited me to a party with her party-based business. And I went, I fell in love with the products, saw what she was doing. I'm like, I could do that. And I already was thinking, already from the very beginning, I was like, is this the out? Is this the thing that can get me like out of the, the traditional working world? Not that I didn't like being a nurse. I didn't like being away from my family and missing like these key moments
right
with my kids. So so right away I was looking at that, and pretty much had my eye on the prize for like, okay, let's figure out a way to make this work. So that I can, decide to take that next step of getting out of nursing, and then just taking it a step further, like, okay, well now, like I almost think of my being in direct sales as like a baby step towards, I don't mean to say that it's
not
it's a true entrepreneur endeavor, but
it's totally true. I was actually thinking gateway drug.
Yes, exactly. It's like a gateway drug. And so then once right. And like, okay, well, if I can sell somebody else's products and do really pretty well at this. Like, okay, like I should, I could
Yeah.
have my own business.
Yeah.
I should do this.
So Megan, we are lucky enough to have, some more time. So I want you to give us any pearls of wisdom, practical tools, hope to get us from where we are now to where we want to be based on your experience and all of the expertise that you have in the world.
Yes, absolutely. The number one thing I would say right off the bat when you ask that or question or kind of, gave me that prompt is that it is so hard to find that inner voice for most of us, or even to know or trust, like, is it even there?
Right.
Because we live in such a busy world. I mean, we're constantly moving at like warp speed, right? we never slow down.
Yes.
And so I just want to encourage your listeners to take the steps to slow down a little bit and just get a little bit intentional about kind of turning inward and just doing some things to maybe help see what is your inner voice trying to tell you, what's like trying to come out. And some of the ways I did that was with journaling, lots of quiet time, meditation, took lots of long walks. That all worked really well for me. Yeah. But the key component always was just getting quiet and actually just spending time with just myself, nobody else, and no other distractions, basically. Yeah.
And that takes practice, doesn't it? Because my brain goes 100 miles an hour. And if I get out of practice in that kind of stuff, like it starts to, I lose traction again. So it definitely does take practice, right? But
yes,
you're right. Like we have already a knowing. And I think that's what I love about coaching is that coaches do not tell you what to do. Coaches help you to listen to the answers that you already have within you and give you the tools and the empowerment to start to step into action with the answer that you already have within you. Right. And so it's so amazing and important to know that we have the answers inside of us, you guys. It's just that we have to have the courage and we have to have the confidence to listen and to say, okay, I think I'm hearing this right. Because that's what happens to me. Discernment comes and then I second guess myself whether or not I'm hearing it right? Or I'm feeling it right. And I think that slowing down, we have to slow down to speed up sometimes. And I think that is that guidance in there of just taking that time. So thank you for that hint of just really tapping into our intuition and our inner voice for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Couldn't have said any of that better myself. Exactly what you said.
Anything else that you wanted to share?
I just want to commend everyone who's listening to this podcast, Unstuck. I think this alone, if you're listening to this podcast, should give you a really strong hint that there's something more for you. Like you're meant for more in some area of your life in some way. Right. And you already know that because you're listening to this podcast. Yeah. So, I hope that can just maybe inspire you to continue to think on that and, okay, what is the more for me? Because I think everyone has more, and it doesn't have to look anything like my journey. I mean, it can be totally different things for different people, in different areas of life. But I just truly believe we're all meant for more. And we all have so many amazing gifts and talents and ways to serve the world. And I want to see more people doing it, especially women.
Absolutely. It's so interesting because I actually wasn't in love with the name Unstuck for a bit. Like I had this like brief period of time where I'm like, did I pick the wrong thing? And then it kind of dawned on me exactly what you just said. Like people that are listening do have this desire for more. And what I love about Unstuck is that people who are stuck don't want to be stuck. So we
Mhm.
try to get unstuck, which means that we get into action. And so one of the things that I tell people all the time is that my kind of observation of success has 3 steps. Number one is that you have a desire that you recognize inside of you. There's something that's
Mhm.
longing for better, right? You have a desire
Mhm.
for more, for better, for different. And you recognize that and you have the awareness. And then the second thing is that you make the decision to become that version of yourself. You make the decision to start believing in yourself. You make the decision to learn the skills, to meet the people, to do the things, and you decree it and you declare it, and you become a different version of yourself because you've decided, right, that there's no other option. And then the thing that we do is we get into action, we implement, we do, right? And
Mhm.
so I think that, you said so beautifully is, and even if we tied it all back to your story, you had that desire for that home birth. You made the decision that you were going to put in the effort to do the research, to find the people, to do the things. And then you actually had to implement that. And you had to have that courage and step out into the courage to actually do what you said you were going to do. And the same with starting your business. I mean, you knew that there was a desire in there for more, right? You finally had to make the decision that, all right, I'm going to sign up for this coaching course. I'm going to do this, this, and this because I have to make this happen. And then you actually implemented instead of said you're going to do it. And you implemented instead of just listening to training. And you're inspiring people all over the world, Megan, and you have so much to give that I can't wait to see what happens. So as we wrap up, I do want to give you a chance to share a little bit about your program and anything that our listeners would maybe be blessed by with what you're putting out into the world right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I run a group coaching program called the Direct Sales Success Academy, and it is for direct sellers and network marketers looking for a very genuine, authentic way to attract people to them using kind of attraction marketing,
Mhm.
which really is just a fancy way of saying putting content out on social media that get people to engage
Right.
and get them to want to come to you.
Yes.
So, and it's just a fabulous, and it's not just social media. We also talk about, of course, having lead magnets and email marketing and other things in there, but it's a great program. I absolutely love it. My students, love it, which has been so great.
Yeah.
But I also offer a great just a Facebook community of just amazing like-minded direct sellers and network marketers that have come together to just learn. It's just like what you were just saying with the desire. They all have the desire to grow their businesses.
Yeah.
And so, they're learning new new techniques basically in the group, and then they're going out and they're doing it and they're transforming their business, which is so cool. So I would love to invite any and all direct sellers and network marketers who would like to check out that community. True You Originals is the name of it. And
I love that. We will make sure that we put all of your information in the show notes, Megan, so that people can connect with you, follow you, do all the things that they can to work with you, be inspired by you. And I am so grateful that you spent just a few minutes with me today, sharing your story. Your vulnerability inspired me. And I'm just so grateful for everything that you're doing out there, my friends. So any last advice before I ask you one more question?
Goodness, any last advice?
I think we kind of handled it. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. Okay. This is what I do. So I want you to give our audience one question that they can think about and ponder that's going to help take them from where they are now to where they want to go. So give them one coaching question to think about between now and then.
Oh, that's such a good question. What I would have you ponder is your life in a year from now. How do you want to feel? So I want you to think about how you actually want to feel, not what you want to do or what you want it to look like, but just how you want to feel. And I think that might help inspire more, it means it's going to get your brain opening and thinking.
Yes.
And then you may be able to fill in the blanks of like, okay, well, how do I get to that feeling?
I love that. That is such a brilliant, brilliant question that I'm going to be thinking about myself. So girlfriend, thank you so much for everything. I'm so grateful for you, and you guys make sure that you follow Megan. All right. Bye, girl.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Unstuck Podcast. I am so grateful to be on this journey with you. And don't forget to check out the show notes if you want to get into my private club, the Better Club, to be able to learn better ways to be better, do better, and have better. So until next time, keep showing up. Let's get unstuck together. Have a great day.